I have another video to show you guys. This one is important. And I will need you to share this as well. Here's the deal. You've been hearing about inflation. You've been hearing about the jobs report, making you believe that there's something wrong with it, as it's not as good as it should be, etc., etc., etc. Brothers and sisters, listen to Brother Insana here, and then we'll take it on the other side. Let me get Ron Insana in the house. Go ahead, Ron.
Ron, it's good to have you with us. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Haley. Good to be with you.
Thank you. So let me start with inflation, right? We talked about the numbers released today showing it's been actually slowing down over the last few months, down from 9.9% in October to just a half point in December. Is there some good news hidden in these numbers that we should be paying attention to?
Yeah, and I'm not sure how hidden it is, actually, Haley. I mean, some of us actually expected this, that the inflation rate of increase would decelerate because some of the supply chain issues that Secretary Buttigieg mentioned just a few moments ago are beginning to ease. If you go back to Christmas, where everybody thought no goods would be delivered and we just get lumps of coal, instead we had the strongest, holiday shopping season in 17 years. So we're seeing more and more those issues get resolved. And I think as we move through 2022, relative to the cost of goods last year, which was depressed by the pandemic, we'll see more flattening out of those increases. And in my estimation, and I'm not among many who say this, I do think inflation is going to come down pretty hard this year, particularly in the goods sector, where, again, we've seen those big jumps relative to the last couple of years that were affected by the pandemic. And I think we'll see much more normal price activity going forward.
We know that the Fed, right, with the chairman of the Fed telling lawmakers on Tuesday, I believe they're considering raising interest rates to try and get a handle on inflation, to tame inflation. So let me ask you this from a very consumer-focused perspective, Ron. What should people be doing with their money right now, right, under the assumption that the Fed may raise interest rates to try to get a check on inflation? Anything different?
Well, there's not much anyone needs to do differently at the moment with a long-term discipline plan. You still put your money away on a monthly basis. You can still dedicate it to stock market investments and the like. If the Fed were to get extremely aggressive, and as some suggested, Goldman Sachs or Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan, if the Fed were to raise rates 4 times or more sometime this year, then at that point, the stock market could run into some serious difficulty. We've already seen it wobble a bit so far this year. But for the moment, not much to do except to adhere to one's discipline, put the money away. And until you really see something that is overtly aggressive by the Fed, you don't have to worry too much. You might want to speed up the purchase of a house if you're in the process of closing, because those rates are likely to go up as well.
That makes sense. If you're thinking about it, maybe do it sooner rather than later, although then you're also contending with what we've seen as a hot housing market, at least in some of the places, DC, New York, et cetera. Ron, really quickly before I let you go, bottom line, do you think, I wonder if you feel like these inflation numbers make the economy look worse than it actually is? And the reason I ask is because, I think for people, you go to the grocery store, your chicken breasts are like more expensive. That hurts, right? You feel that in your week to week or month to month budget. But as we've seen over the last month or so, the economy is growing. Unemployment is getting back down to where they were before the pandemic.
And wages are going up about 6%. So the real loss of purchasing power is close to 1% rather than the 7% inflation number that everybody talks about. So wages have gone up. The economy is strong. Employment strong. And I think this temporary increase in inflation will, as the Fed used to say, prove transitory. And I think people will find that their purchasing power will get stronger as the year goes on.
Okay.
So as you see, folks, the effective inflation rate to people based on the increase in the economy is about 1%. And, a lot of that we all know can be mitigated instead of buying a brand name stuff for now, while the thugs that have caused the rates to go up. And notice I only name call the people who are ripping off the average American citizen. You'll never hear me talk about the average American as being foolish, stupid, or anything. I won't do that. But those bastions, the bastions of our economy, the bastions of our politics, the ones that are doing harm to the American people, I will have no mercy in how we talk to them or how we should talk to them.
We
spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.